You see Nancy Pelosi defend insider trading?
I was just about to ask.
What'd you say? I don't know, guys. I'm doing great at it. You guys should try.
A bunch of people were freaking out about it. I think it was Crystal and Sagar were doing. I didn't watch it, but I did see the headline that she apparently.
Oh, it's incredible! You have to watch it. It's like
she's just bypassing all the laws to make hella cash.
She looks so.
The reason that this idea to put a ban on stock trading for members of Congress is even a thing is because of Nancy Pelosi. I mean, she is rightfully criticized because she makes, I think, $174,000 a year, yet she has a net worth of approximately $413 million. In 2024, Nancy Pelosi's stock portfolio, this was a fascinating statistic to me, grew 70%. In 1 year.
Karoline Leavitt and Joe Rogan recently gave Nancy Pelosi a fiery farewell to her political career. Forget about courteous goodbyes. This roast tore through decades of stock-savvy speeches, frozen smiles, and double standards. Through the use of inflated news conferences and designed drama, they reveal the ultimate power hoarder to be the queen of controlled chaos. You should reconsider if you believed Pelosi's departure would be amicable. This takedown destroys the myth, not just removes the mask. This is going to get fucking hilarious, so buckle up.
See the Nancy Pelosi thing? The new one?
She was being interviewed and then was like, I didn't want to talk about that.
Anderson Cooper.
Yeah.
Put that on. Anderson Cooper, he sneaks it in. She's like, I came in here to talk about the anniversary of Medicaid. Like, she cares about Medicaid. She's worth an estimated $400 million now.
How? What's the salary? 70,000 a year?
170 grand a year, something like that. 200 grand a year.
People on this, he doesn't want to see people like Nancy Pelosi enriching themselves off of public service and ripping off their constituents in the process. As for the mechanics of the legislation and how it will move forward, the White House continues to be in discussions.
Not only did Joe Rogan and Karoline make fun of Nancy Pelosi, her entire career was transformed into a public humiliation by them. This wasn't just a little marshmallow char. This was a full-fledged flamethrower directed against decades of crypt keeper politics, polished hypocrisy, and a personal brand based solely on broken promises and Botox.
But the amount of stock trading that's done by members of Congress, the amount of fucking money that they make when they know decisions that are going to be signed and passed, they know laws that are going to be put into place. They know, like there was one recently that we're talking about Nancy Pelosi and the amount of money she invested in Tesla right before Biden signed this EV bill. Electric vehicle bill. It's like 1.2 million. Find out.
Pelosi, who holds onto a gavel as if it were her last line of defense from being remembered, has no chance. As if preparing for a title battle, Joe Rogan came out firing, and her wine cave was the direct target of his first blow. This woman's idea of pandemic leadership, let's face it, was to hoard 13 quarts of ice cream when Americans were out there accumulating toilet paper. While lockdowns were choking small companies, she was filming Cribs episodes from her house. She pushed for leadership Pelosi style, which in this case seems to be letting them eat gelato accords.
Here, let's watch this because it's so funny.
Let me just read what he said. I'm sorry that we had some sort of technical issue. Nancy Pelosi became rich.
Why do you have to read that? We're here to talk about the 60th anniversary of Medicaid. That's what I agreed to come to talk about.
Yeah, but I wanted
what that means in the election.
I wanted to give you a chance to respond. He accused you of insider trading. What's your response to that?
It's ridiculous. In fact, I very much support the trading of members of Congress. Not that I think anybody's doing anything wrong. If they are prosecuted.
Nor did Karoline Leavitt mince words. Her first impression of Pelosi's legacy was one of a dusty contradiction museum. Pelosi may be seen screaming about democracy being threatened one moment, and then tearing up speeches like a crazy child in a paper factory the next. More than defending democracy, it's about protecting her corner office and her never-ending speaking engagements. Pelosi's principle, if it ever existed, most likely left the scene years ago when it became aware that lobbyists and insider trading information were all around it.
Did you talk to the president at his position on the stock trading ban bill before Congress? He obviously had pretty loaded comments about Senator Hawley. There's some reporting that they've since spoken. What is his position on the current status of that?
The president has spoken to Senator Hawley, who called him, and the president took that call. As the president said in the Roosevelt Room yesterday, conceptually, he of course supports the idea of ensuring that members of Congress and United States senators who are here for public service.
Pelosi's meticulously planned pandemonium was hilarious, and Joe ripped into it. She always looked to be leading from behind, tripping over her own party controversies and accusing the other side of being there, he pointed out. Her political approach resembled performance art more than anything else. Ignoring the fact that I've been in charge since the dinosaurs roamed the Capitol is a big part of it, along with theatrical hand gestures and orange guy terrible hysteria.
Well, insider trading is against the law.
Yeah.
How is that not insider trading?
Right.
If you know that someone's going to sign a bill and that bill is going to be a massive boost to the electrical vehicle industry, just as an example, and you know that bill's going to be signed, so right before that bill's signed, you buy a fuckload of stock in electrical vehicles, and then the next day, or whenever it was, that bill gets passed, and then that stock goes up, and you make a shit ton of money.
Additionally, those performances are like seeing a broken animatronic from a deserted theme park every time Pelosi speaks. They seem to be attempting to signal an airplane with their fluttering palms. In a blend of circuit-fried syllables and arrogant superiority, the words flow out. Somehow, even after all these years, she still sounds surprised that people doubt her judgment, as if she didn't approve a stimulus measure that had more pork than a Texas barbecue.
And her portfolio outperformed every single large hedge fund in that same year, and even more than doubled the returns of Warren Buffett's Berkshire. Years later, Nancy Pelosi can thank President Trump today for the 104% retaliatory tariff that will be going into effect on China. In 2007, Chuck Schumer spoke of our nation's crippling trade deficit, saying these are the kinds of records the American people don't want us to be breaking. The administration needs to move beyond words, take action now to reverse a trend that threatens our prospects for future.
Joe melted the plastic image of Pelosi by roasting it. Her tenure was more about controlling the narrative than finding practical answers, and this was evident through the produced optics. Color-coordinated clothing, prepared press releases. He attacked her for promoting impeachment as a holiday commodity while kneecapping younger Democrats. He also ridiculed the insider trading scandal, claiming that she possessed a magic 8-ball because her stock selections outperformed the market. If ordinary Americans were as fortunate as she was, everyone would be living on yachts. Pelosi avoided responsibility when questioned like a pro in a dodgeball match by claiming that Pelosi has devoted her career to arranging photo opportunities, promoting oversized bills that no one reads, and clinging to relevance. Karoline doubled down and destroyed the myth of selfless devotion. Although she treats the Constitution as if it were a stage prop, she speaks about it as though she wrote it. Pelosi's hypocrisy is ingrained in her political personality. While she was refining it herself, she chastised Trump for dividing people. Power plays disguised as lectures about togetherness and fancy scarves. Joe criticized her for being addicted to political theater, where cameras are always present. She wore a kente cloth during city fires, transforming the disaster into cultural role-playing. It was branding, and everything with Pelosi is branding, not justice.
Transparent, and it's right in front of your face. Like the Nancy Pelosi situation. She's never made more than $175,000 a year. She's worth $100 and something million. Did you ever see the one where they confronted her about being able to insider trade? You never saw that?
No.
It's wild.
Over the course of your career, has your husband ever made a stock purchase or sale based on information you received from him?
No. Absolutely not.
He pushes the mic away.
Like Gollum with a pension plan, she clings to relevance by hoarding power rather than passing it on. Progress was always subordinated to Botox and bank accounts, according to Karoline's legacy. Legislating automatically while putting on soap opera performances, Pelosi was an expert at acting as though she cared.
Watching the panic in her face, realizing that Trump is now president, and they're talking about literally going after her for insider trading, and the undeniable evidence that they have had better results on the stock market than literally anyone ever.
Yeah.
And they have access to information about laws that are going to be passed.
Yeah.
If that's not insider trading.
How could someone spend 50 years in government and leave everything broken? Joe asked as he concluded. Fixing things was never the goal, was the response. Pelosi's career was all about her, holding onto power, influencing public opinion, and expecting praise for her dysfunction. Without really confronting the corruption inside her own group, her graceful exit was merely a retreat rather than a shift. She claimed openness and blocked cameras while preaching morality and breaking the law. Pelosi would have tenure if contradictory behavior were a profession. Joe got the ending spot on. Pelosi is a legacy brand that is rebooting with slicker packaging, but no real content. It's the Windows Vista of leadership, broken, out of date, and ready to be replaced.
Older than Biden, like, chill out. Go on a vacation.
The things he says are so inappropriate for a president of the United States. The comments he makes about women.
Also, why are you still doing it? You're older than Biden.
You're asking me about the appropriateness of the actions of this president? So completely inappropriate in so many ways. It's almost a given.
Not even about the money, it's about access, the power.
He comes in with doggy-doo on his shoes, and everybody who works with him has that on their shoes, too.
The people who carry your bags and tote you.
With her stage farewell tour, Pelosi goes away, leaving Americans with a resume full of action but no progress, speeches that have aged like moldy cheese, and policies that have been shattered. Perhaps her biggest contribution was letting go at last. Joe and Karoline filled the vacuum in the quiet with frankness, revealing decades of dysfunction hidden behind fake outrage and fine clothes. Pelosi was a relic masquerading as a revolutionary, and neither a magazine cover nor a Trump feud could conceal the reality. Her legacy was not only stripped, but also evaporated at the end of the roast, reduced to ashes, phony applause, and the lingering smell of burning designer suits.
June of 1996, Nancy Pelosi spoke on the House floor. She urged her colleagues at the time to fight against the status quo trade policies that had contributed to America's trade deficit with China. In fact, Nancy Pelosi said, "How far does China have to go? How much more repression? How big a trade deficit? How many jobs have to be lost for the American workers? How much dangerous proliferation has to exist before members of this House of Representatives will say, 'I will not endorse the status quo'?" Those are the words of Nancy Pelosi in 1990.
Pelosi's departure left us with questions rather than answers, and Joe Rogan wasn't finished. He dismantled her career to expose a burning heap of packed failures rather than leadership. For many years, she held the spotlight rather than the line, wrapping dysfunction in ceremonial ribbons. Joe perfectly captured her favorite tactic, which is to proclaim moral superiority while engaging in political expediency. Her press briefings are both sophisticated and empty, by pointing out that she maintained her position of authority by excluding new voices. Karoline disproved the notion that she was irreplaceable, by erecting a toll booth on the path to reform and obstructing the next generation with staged drama and fabricated cheers. Pelosi did not clear the path.
Hold on. Pelosi's husband invested in Tesla, but not as viral post claims. Okay, so it's bullshit. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi purchased $1.25 million in stock from the electric vehicle company Tesla a day later.
Pelosi's insider trading was not tolerated by Joe, who grinned, as if her NDAs were golden tickets, and made fun of how a sitting speaker consistently outperformed Wall Street's top performers. As Americans hoped for relief from petrol shortages, her stock selections coincided with impending legislation. She responded to questions about it with denial, deflection, and outrage that befitted dark humor. The hypocrisy of her ostentatious departure, which was framed as a reluctant abdication by a queen, was subsequently revealed by Karoline. Pelosi wasn't only the face of stalemate, she created it. Joe landed the closer. She led one of the most chaotic and divisive periods in American politics, as bipartisanship disappeared and theatrical anger became the language of Congress, while branding herself as a barrier against radicalism.
Because this is a free market and people, we're a free market economy, they should be able to participate in that.
She's telling why her husband should be able to invest in stuff that she knows about.
Have you ever seen a person look more nervous?
Yeah.
It was the long sip, the gulp afterwards, and then...
The only thing that ever brought Pelosi's caucus together was their ability to place the blame for everything on Trump, who is now, ironically, back in the White House. Karoline pointed out that Pelosi never trusted democracy, even though she had talked a lot about defending it. She didn't trust reform, debate, or even voters unless she could manipulate the image. Her position was what she was protecting. She lived at a time when status, image, and legacy were preserved rather than evolving. And now that legacy, a career of high heels, high drama, and higher stock returns, is revealed as artificial relevance. Pelosi leaves behind a jaded public, a divided Congress, and an exaggerated reputation. No more applause, no more fake tears. Just the fact that Pelosi served herself, not the people, was the final straw that Joe and Karoline used to close the deal.